Welcome, and thank you for coming to hear my persuasive speech today about how we should, instead of testing on animals, we should possibly be testing on inmates in prison. According to Forbes magazine, as of 2017, the number of people serving life sentences in the U.S. prisons is surging. According to a new report issued by the Sentencing Project, nearly 162,000 inmates are serving a life sentence, 1 out of every 9 people in prison. A further 44,311 individuals are serving virtual life sentences of 50 years or more, defined as any sentence where it's likely the inmate will die in custody. According to the Bureau Institute of Justice, incarceration costs an average of more than $31,000 per inmate per year nationwide. In some states, it's as much as $60,000. The taxpayers are the ones who are footing the bill for feeding, housing, and securing people in state and federal penitentiaries. Maintaining each death row prisoner costs taxpayers $90,000 more per year than a prisoner in general population. As of February 7, 2019, there are 2,738 death row inmates in the United States. The number of death row inmates changes daily due to new convictions and other. That's over $247 million a year for death penalty and $5 billion a year for life without parole inmates. These are our U.S. tax dollars paying for men and women to sit in jail for committing crimes. Yet prisoners are complaining of unfair conditions and being treated poorly. Maybe I'm just old or just the type of person that questions things more profoundly. These are men and women who committed crimes that got them sentenced to prison, ranging from murder, burglary, theft, distribution of drugs, crimes regardless, in my opinion, that has taken lives from them that are now not only are they a burden, but complaining burden at that. As prisoners, they are clothed, given 3 meals a day, free housing, basically free health care, and dental care. They are not working to get nice things, even if the state has them essentially working, making license plate, or like in Texas, working out a prison farm system that provides all the fruit, vegetables, pork, and beef that is distributed throughout the prisons throughout Texas. Back to my point, they committed crimes. Therefore, when sentenced to prison for life, they lost their right to anything seemingly nice. There are children and elderly who are lucky to get one meal a day, let alone 3. For the elderly, far too many say they are lucky to have roofs over their heads because of what they've gotten from Social Security, and disability or retirement barely covers their rent, let alone leaving enough to buy food. If they can buy food, they can't drive to buy the food, or are lucky if there's public transportation to get to the store. The average elderly only gets $17,000 a year for Social Security and disability, yet we're spending $31,000 a year per inmate. Does that really seem right? I don't think so. The government spends as much as $14.5 billion a year on animal experimentation, with some projects siphoning off taxpayer dollars for decades and resulting in cruel treatment of unknown number of animals. PETA also argues that the National Institute of Health grants go towards experiments that involve cruel and expensive experiments on animals that will not save human lives. They go on to say, although research involving both humans and animals, scientists identify new ways to treat illnesses, extend life, and improve health and well-being. New thinking about diseases and treatments must be evaluated very carefully so that the benefits and risks for the proposed approach are clear. When necessary, new hypotheses are tested on animals first in order to give sufficient evidence of these benefits and risks before considering possible use in humans. However, the U.S. spends $16 billion annually on animal testing at taxpayers' expense and is subject to massive waste and mismanagement of taxpayer dollars. Much of this cruelty is supported by the National Institute of Health, which allocates 40% of its annual research budget to animal experiments. Now that I've thrown all these numbers and statistics at you, did you know that the reactions to drugs and treatments performed on animals cannot truly mimic that of a human being? We as a country are spending so much money when there is a more sensitive alternative. Why can we not experiment on inmates, prisoners that are spending their lives behind bars, when they can do something life-saving? They would be giving back to those so many that are in need. They would be earning more money to help themselves and the environment they are in. It would be spent accordingly to the numbers above, over $5 billion a year on inmates. Instead of testing on animals, who are not truly giving real numbers, real reactions, real scenarios, or much needed treatment for diseases, viruses, and other elements, the inmates and prisoners could benefit from the $16 billion from animal testing. Even spending half of that can improve the prison system's lack of personnel, providing better facilities, providing better activities for the prison, and preventing riots and the added violence that's in prison. When inmates are bored, or they feel currently that they have inhumane conditions, the $16 billion can go in eating in air conditioning systems, heating systems, providing better food for them, better clothing for them, better shoes. As a friend who used to work the prison system told me, when they took the cigarettes and the porn out of prisons, we took away their only outlet for hormones and stimulation. Therefore, the buildup of hormones need an outlet, which leads to the riots and the violence in the prisons that need to act out. Also, another benefit of testing on humans instead of animals is the money the inmates and the states would save. They would be able to use that money in our communities with disadvantages to improve the state of education and the much needed resources that are needed in the communities. I'm not saying that all inmates must be tested on. I'm saying give them a choice. They would be removed from general population, given better conditions because they will be monitored closely for side effects, given better living conditions for the sake of science, not having to worry about someone trying to kill them for what gang they are affiliated with within the outside world or because of the color of their skin or hair. Conditions where everyone is equal. You're giving your life to science to help prevent or treat illnesses that are affecting their families, even their children in the outside world. I believe that given the chance, many inmates would have no hope of parole would jump at the chance to help their fellow man, or better yet, a child, by saving their life, all because they're willing to find out the side effects or find a cure for an illness or prevention of an illness. With the money saved from animal testing, the money should go to endangered communities to help providing better educational tools with after-school programs, providing safe places away from drug dealers and gangs, safe places to get nourishing meals for the children and the elderly. So much can be done to help in so many ways by changing our logic of thinking. Our children are a product of their environment. If our children are given better opportunities for better, they won't be out committing crimes that will likely land them in prison. Some say, isn't it cruel to the inmate? No, it is not. Not when it's volunteered and giving them an opportunity to save someone else, redeem themselves from the acts that force them to be in prison to begin with. Not being able to provide a cure or preventative for cancer or other long, hard ailments is inhumane. Testing on animals that were bred specifically for animal testing is cruel and inhumane. Using a skin cream to treat a rash that may have cured the rat but causes the skin of a person to burn off or scar is cruel. In closing, I urge you to write to your local government officials in support of medical testing on lifetime prisoners and stop animal testing. A human being will be able to tell you how a drug or treatment makes them feel and the side effects of an animal with technically no voice. Thank you and have a great day.